selective sanity. That's the way I be.
What up, Sanimaniacs? Welcome back to Selective Sanity. I'm your girl, Tessa Evelyn Scott, and this week I'm selectively exhausted. But Tessa, how can you be exhausted? Didn't you just come back from a Bahamas vacation? And why, yes, thank you for keeping up with my life. I did, but it wasn't a girls' trip. It wasn't a vacation. It was a family vacation. Okay, me, my depression-inducing mother, my anxiety-inducing sister, and my attention-hungry nieces. Love them to death. But my idea of a relaxing trip is not waiting an hour in line at a water park, which I threw up at, by the way, after the lazy river. So yeah, that was my Bahamas vacay. I basically went from chasing around one kid in LA to chasing around two kids around Atlantis. The good news, though, is for the first time in, honestly, I don't even know how many years, my family vacation was not emotionally exhausting. Nobody stressed me out. No depression hanging over the trip. We just existed together. And that shit was kind of beautiful. So I think I will take being physically exhausted over emotionally exhausted any damn day of the week. Anywho, once I flew back to LA, it was time to get little buddy enrolled in first grade, which starts in like 2 weeks. Good Lord. I'm about to be a PTA mom. For anyone just now tuning in, my girlfriend and I are now the foster parents to our 6-year-old nephew. It was not expected. We were not prepared. But hey, we're making it work the best we can. And I'm realizing something that's honestly been kind of hard for me to wrap my head around, but this might actually be my life now, And at first, everything felt temporary. We just kept saying, we'll take it one day at a time. We'll see what happens. But as more conversations happen, it's starting to feel like this isn't just some short chapter. No, this could very well be our new normal. And if I'm being real, excuse me, I have complicated feelings about that. Not bad feelings, just complicated ones. Because I'm not mad, right? I'm not resentful. I don't wake up wishing this never happened. I love that little boy with all my heart already. I would do absolutely anything to make sure he grows up feeling safe and loved. It's just it is weird grieving a life that you thought you were gonna have while simultaneously being excited about the life you are now living, like nobody really prepares you for that feeling. But I will say this. There has been one unexpected bonus that I did not see coming, and that's getting to be a kid again. Y'all, why is Bluey kind of fire? Why are squishy toys so fucking cool? How does Capri Sun still hit exactly the same as it did when I was a kid? And not only that, I have been rediscovering cartoons I completely forgot existed. Walking through toy aisles, getting nostalgic over things I haven't thought about in 30 years. Y'all, I absolutely love getting to relive my childhood with little dude. And honestly, I think it's healing something in me. Yeah, I think it's healing my inner child in a way that she didn't even know she needed to be healed. And y'all, you have no idea how excited I am for Halloween this year. Not because I'm going to some influencer party in some sexy nurse costume, which, let's be honest, I totally eat, but because I get to carve pumpkins, pick out costumes, decorate the house, watch Halloween movies, take him trick or treating, all those little traditions that I haven't really thought about in years. So, yeah, this wasn't exactly the summer I pictured. My titties have spent significantly less time outside than I originally budgeted, but somehow this weird, unexpected little life we're building together is starting to feel more like home, and I get here. But enough about me and my identity crisis in the Walmart school supply aisle. Let's get into the show, shall we? And also, disclaimer, if you notice I'm whispering a little bit, it is because I have a sleeping 6-year-old on the other side of the wall. This is what I'm talking about. Let's get it.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
All right, y'all, it's time for the Hollywood Hustle, where we talk about all the messy, magical, mildly concerning things happening in Hollywood. And this week, we gotta talk about the iconic film and television series Clueless, because breaking news, y'all, and this is not true, a Clueless reboot series is officially in the works at Paramount Plus. And before anyone panics, no, this is not another remake of the movie. Y'all know how I feel about reboots and remakes, and it's not fondly. But this series is actually a much later sequel that follows our original Cher 30 years after we last saw her. And now she's the owner of a successful business and a mother who seems to have it all figured out until her daughter enters high school, leading her to once again feel clueless. See what they did there? It's simple, but as an OG fan, I fucking love it. Now, the Gen Zs are too young to fully understand the lore, but for us millennials, and honestly Gen X too, Clueless wasn't just entertainment. Okay, it was one of those movies that you watched 100 times because it was always on TV and you also on the VHS. It was the epitome of sleepover movie culture, right? It was quoting lines with your friends and learning words like sporadically and realizing how embarrassing it is to be a virgin who can't drive. Yeah, okay, so the movie Clueless came out in 1995 and instantly became a cultural phenomenon. Everyone wanted Cher's computerized closet. I still do. Everyone started saying SF. And every girl was rocking plaid 2 sets with the knee-high socks. Fuck, man, I miss the 90s. Anyways, the movie was so damn successful that they turned it into a TV series, and despite not bringing back Alicia Silverstone to play Cher, the series still kept all that campy, over-the-top Beverly Hills energy that made the movie so fun, and I loved it. Now, y'all want some tea? Because I actually knew this reboot was happening before it hit the Hollywood Reporter, baby. Yeah, because my manager submitted me to be a writer on it. And y'all, I was ready. Okay, I had my pitch ideas. I was mentally decorating my writer's office. I was picking out my Emmy's dress. And then I found out that they were specifically just looking for Gen Z writers. Annoying. But fuck it, I lied about being 22 in the strip club and I'll do it again in a writer's room, baby. So I had my manager submit me anyways. And now, while we're on the subject of reboots, I'd be lying if I didn't admit how hypocritical I'm being right now, because real talk, I haven't watched Elle, the new Legally Blonde prequel on Prime Video yet. Not because I heard it's bad or anything. I actually heard it's really good. It's just weird, okay? Because honestly, I have this weird, somewhat sexual relationship with nostalgia, right? And a lot of these reboots, they don't give me that thing that I loved back. It's just, they're giving me this expensively cheap impersonation of it, you know? So since Hollywood clearly has no plans of stopping this reboot epidemic anytime soon, I have got some notes. Okay, because if we're going to keep resurrecting old shows, let's at least resurrect the right shows. And yes, I am prepared to provide examples. First up, the Golden Girls. No further comment necessary. Yeah. Next, Date My Mom. Do y'all remember that unhinged MTV show where instead of dating like 3 potential matches, these random dudes would date their mamas first, and then they picked which daughter they wanted to go out with, like based entirely on how their mom described them? Y'all, that was peak 2000s chaos, and I think it would hit even better today. But I guess we'd first have to reboot MTV first. Theo, rest in peace, beloved. Now, speaking of unhinged reality shows from the early 2000s, Beauty and the Geek. If you remember this show, you are a day one reality lover. It was this competition show that paired hot girls with intelligent geeks that challenged your stereotypes, basically. Man, I had to be like 17 when that show aired, and I was so obsessed. I would definitely reboot that in a heartbeat. And I would also reboot Alias. Jen Garner, she was such a badass in that show. She was playing a graduate student by day and an international spy by night. Homegirl was wearing like 14 wigs per episode. Ooh, it was a time, baby. The show had espionage, action, betrayal, secret organizations, and some of the best cliffhangers television has ever seen. So with today's production budget, yeah, that reboot would absolutely eat. And y'all should cast me as a lead. My agency is Paradigm. Now, let's talk Melrose Place because, yes, I know they already tried rebooting it, but hear me out. Y'all keep putting rich, pretty people in Beverly Hills, and I'm so over it. Okay, so in my reboot, I'd set that shit in the hood. Give me Melrose Place in South Central, in Inglewood, in the Valley. Make the apartment complex affordable housing where everyone's just trying to survive. Someone's hustling through jobs, someone's secretly a drug dealer, someone's stealing Amazon packages. Now that's a soap opera that I'd watch every Thursday night. Ooh, and you know what else? Ghost Whisperer. Jennifer Love Hewitt helping ghosts resolve their unfinished business before they can cross over. Loved it. Every episode had me in tears. I wanted to say tears, but then I said feels. Anyways, I too was convinced from that show that I could talk to ghosts. And I still, to this day, have not seen one. And honestly, I'm really not trying to. So yeah. Oh, you know what? Another series that I would reboot is Xena Warrior Princess. Ooh, that girl's a baddie, and the lesbians have suffered enough. So just give us back our queen. Okay, Xena was traveling through ancient Greek, kicking ass with her lesbian lover Gabrielle by her side. Every queer woman in America, we're living on the subtext of the 90s, But today, if I rebooted it, I'd go full hardcore on those lesbian love scenes because we don't need subtext. We need spank bank material. I said it, so there you have it. Hollywood, if you're going to keep rebooting shit anyways, maybe stop asking what made money once and start asking what story actually deserves another chance. Because there is a difference. And anybody over at Paramount, Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, Apple TV, HBO Max, whoever y'all is listening, I'm still available for writing staff. Even though I'm apparently too old for Clueless. Now, excuse me while I go ice my knees and update my fake birth year on my resume.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
Well, hello there, Sanimaniacs. It's time for the Sanity Hotline. I asked y'all to send your questions, your drama, your am I crazy or are they moments. And while I can't professionally help y'all, I can sure as shit validate your feelings that someone in your life is being ridiculous as fuck. So let's get into it, shall we? Hey, Tessa, one of your rare male fans here. Bitch, you don't know my statistics? But true, carry on. My wife of 4 years recently told me she wants to convert our guest room into her own separate bedroom. She says she's a really light sleeper, likes having her own space, and doesn't think sleeping separately means we love each other any less. But that shit low-key crushed me. Am I crazy for thinking that couples are supposed to sleep together? I mean, to her defense, I do snore really loud. But she sleeps with earplugs anyway, so I'm just wondering if she is getting the ick and trying to break up with me slowly because it feels like we'll basically just be roommates. Am I overthinking this or is she actually over me? Okay. Well, I don't have too much to go off of, but here is what I'm going to instantly take from this. Your girl is trying to save your relationship or strengthen it, not end it. Now, why do I think that? Because she literally said it, right? When she said, it doesn't mean she'd love you any less. And I don't think a grown woman trying to leave your ass is gonna give mixed signals like that. So let's just take her at her word for a sec. She's a light sleeper and you snore like Shrek. Okay, that alone is enough reason for me to want to sleep in a different room. But let's go deeper here, okay? Because as kids, we all get our own bedrooms, right? Well, for the most part, we have our own little happiness sanctuary, somewhere that we can decompress and decorate however we want. Just shut the door, lie on the bed naked, stare at the ceiling in peace. And then one day you fall in love and society goes, congratulations. Now you have to give up half your closet, half your bed, half your bathroom counter and never be alone again, huh? Who the fuck came up with that shit? I just know I had to be a clingy ass man. No offense. But I'm not just talking out of my ass when I say that I actually think having your own space can make a relationship better. Because believe it or not, Paris and I have separate bedrooms. And when I casually mention that, I swear to God, people will act like I just admitted we communicate through lawyers. It's crazy, but let me tell you, I honestly fucking love it. Okay. When I want to binge a show until 2 in the morning, but she got to be up early for a court hearing, not a problem. When she wakes up early as shit and starts typing all loudly on her laptop, it's not a problem because I can't hear it. Nobody's fighting over a blanket. Nobody's getting elbowed in the face in the middle of the night. Nobody's pretending they're not annoyed by the other person snoring. And most importantly, nobody's harboring resentment towards each other, for stealing the other person's space, which is a wonderful thing, because that means that the time that we do spend together is completely intentional and not forced. I never get sick of her. In fact, I'll miss her and go to her room several times a day just to see what she's up to. Y'all sharing a room are low-key missing out because us sleeping on other sides of the hall truly keep a little bit of mystery and independence alive in our relationships. Yes, but most importantly, my space is mine, and that is so crucial for me. And it seems like that may be the case for your wife. If she's craving her own space, don't keep that from her. Allow yourself to see where this new chapter can take this relationship of y'all's. You did mention, though, couples are supposed to sleep together. And I really need you to free yourself from the shackles of that traditional thinking, okay? Because forcing yourself to follow relationship rules that don't actually work for your relationship is a big ass problem. So drop the supposed to bullshit. Because a relationship only has to work for the two people in it. And that's it. So my advice, she wants to move across the hall, not to another city. It's a totally fair request. So stop worrying about what every other married couple is doing and where every other married couple is sleeping and start focusing on if you and your wife are getting the sleep and personal space y'all need to be truly happy in your marriage. And hey, think about everything you could do with your new space. You could hang up pictures of all the fish you caught or whatever men like to look at. Anyways, good luck and enjoy your newfound space. Do I have another one? No. Damn. It's been a week, y'all.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
All right, y'all. It is time to crack open our weekly time capsule where I dust off another piece of pop culture that had us in an absolute chokehold growing up. A TV show, a celebrity, a scandal, something that completely consumed our lives for like 6 months and then just vanished into the Bermuda Triangle of the internet. And this week's ancient artifact is Tila Tequila. Now, if you're Gen Z listening right now, you may have no clue who the fuck I'm talking about, but this is an educational segment. So sit down, grab a pen and paper, and listen up. Because before influencers, before TikTokers, before people were becoming millionaires from Get Ready With Me and Amazon storefronts, there was one woman who somehow became the most famous person on the internet simply because everyone was obsessed with her. And that woman was Tila Tequila. Now, let me paint the picture. It's 2006. You were spending 4 hours coding your MySpace profile so you can have flames in the background. Facebook is still only for college students, and Instagram and TikTok don't even exist yet. Nobody has ever heard of the term influencer, but somehow the most followed person on MySpace, it wasn't Beyonce, it wasn't Britney Spears, it wasn't even Paris Hilton, y'all. That's right, it was Tila Tequila. She had millions and millions of MySpace friends at the time, and that was a huge deal, okay? Because celebrities weren't even on social media like that yet. So she was one of the first people to prove that the internet could make someone famous. Real talk, Tila walked so that every influencer today could sprint straight into a brand deal. Yeah, and naturally, Hollywood saw all its attention Tila was getting and said, yo, we need to monetize this bitch immediately. So MTV gave her her own dating show, A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. And honestly, I still don't know how that show got approved, but boy, am I glad it did. The premise was 16 straight guys and 16 lesbians live in a house together while all competing to date Tila. Except nobody knew she was bisexual at first. So the contestants spent like the entire first episode trying to figure out why there were so many people of the opposite sex hanging around the mansion. It was basically bisexual Survivor. Yeah, and looking back now, the show was insanely groundbreaking, whether people realized it or not. This was one of the first dating shows that centered around someone openly attracted to both men and women. And that was just something you didn't really see on television back then. But holy shit, was this show incredibly messy. People were making out after knowing each other for like 12 minutes. Drinks would be flying, arguments every episode, bitches crying in a hot tub, punching holes into wall. It was a reality TV in its purest 2007 form, and America ate it up. The show was a huge success. Tila was everywhere. Okay, magazine covers, red carpets, music videos, club appearances. If there was a reality TV event happening between like 2006 and 2008, Tila was there, baby. But then things started to take a really sad turn. Okay. So Tila had fallen in love with a woman, but not just any woman, Casey Johnson. Johnson, the heiress of Johnson and Johnson and the whole family fortune. Yeah. But in 2010, Casey, she unexpectedly died. And after that, Tila went off the rails. Okay. And hey, look, do I agree that a crash out was warranted? Absolutely. But I don't think Homegirl took it way too far because she started posting some bizarre ass shit online. Okay. She got into public feuds. She was messier than when she was on the show. She was clearly struggling personally. And then over the next few years, things really escalated in a way that I don't think anyone saw coming because eventually she started posting anti-Semitic content. She was praising Hitler, denying the Holocaust, reposting a bunch of other dumbass extremist views. But let me tell you, almost overnight, the same internet that made her famous wanted absolutely nothing to do with her. She was dropped from appearances. She lost TV opportunities, and she was banned from several social media platforms just like that. One of the biggest internet celebrities in the world just basically disappeared from mainstream pop culture. And now she lives in the memory of chronically online millennials and Gen Xers. So, yeah, honestly, I think Tila Tequila's story is one of the earliest examples of something we see happening all the time now. How the internet can make you famous overnight, but it can also be your downfall. I think the difference is today we're so used to influencers getting canceled every other week, that they can actually bounce back from it now. But back then, yeah, we hadn't really seen anything like it. Just another cool reminder that fame doesn't come with stability. In fact, it fucks your shit up on a level you never expected. But everyone still wants it, you know? We'll unpack that another time. Now, I will say this. Do I think A Shot of Love would work today? Absolutely, baby. Well, aside from the fact that I think all the lesbian contestants would hook up with each other, but I would love to see a show like this back on air. But what about y'all? Do y'all even remember Tila Tequila? And did you watch A Shot at Love? Better yet, if MTV resurrected itself and the show, who would you cast as the lead? Because I'm thinking Trisha Paytas. Y'all know that show would be too good. Too bad she's married, I think. Anyways, this week's time capsule is officially sealed until next time when we dig up another beautiful disaster from our childhood.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
Hey, baby cakes, and welcome to my very first segment of The Lesbian Agenda. Now, this is the part of the show where I'll dish on all things queer. You know, lesbian lore, gay gossip, community drama, dating disasters, TikTok, discourse, and all the other little weird things that only my LGBT cuties would understand. But hey, if the straights accidentally learn something along the way, then good for you and keep it up. So, with that said, throw on your thumb rings, clip on your carabiners, and let's dive into this week's agenda. And this week, we're talking bisexuality. I mean, why not? Everyone else is at the moment, so I might as well toss my hat in the ring as well. Now, every few years, like clockwork, the bisexual dating discourses rises from the dead, like Michael Myers. You think it's over, and then boom, there it is all over my FYP again. Only this time it's a little different because for years this conversation has mainly consisted of bisexual women bitching out lesbians because some lesbians prefer to date other lesbians. But now the plot has thickened because I'm seeing a bunch of bisexual men getting all up in their feels as well because some straight women prefer to date straight men. At this point, y'all, I'm just sitting back with my popcorn because, like, why are we acting all offended over people having dating preferences? Women don't date broke men. Men don't date ugly women. How is this any different? Because I'm not gonna lie, y'all, it's a reach. It's a big ass reach, and it's truly giving. I don't feel oppressed enough, so I need a reason to play victim. I'm sorry. Don't come for me. I said it. I'm sorry. Actually, I do. I really need the engagement, but here's the part that genuinely confuses me. Y'all baddies actually have the biggest dating pool of anybody. You know, if we're talking strictly numbers, bisexual people have more potential partners than lesbians, gay men, or straight people. So why are we spending all this energy chasing people who have already said no thanks instead of just dating the people who are actually open to dating you? You know, like imagine if I just threw a fit that Rihanna liked boys instead of me when I could just find another baddie who actually eats box. Was that too vulgar? Good. I like that shit. Now, hold on, y'all. Before anyone clips this into a 12-second TikTok and calls me biphobic, again, I'm not saying there's something wrong with bisexuality. What I'm saying is there's one main concern that I don't think it's talked about enough. But me personally, I talk about it with every single bisexual I have come across in like the last 13 years. Yeah, that's hundreds of bisexuals I personally interviewed to ask them all one single question. And that's if you married one gender today, could you be happy with that gender for the rest of your life? Or do you think that there will come a point where you would miss being with the other? And wouldn't you know it, not one person has ever said, I'd be happy with that one gender forever. Every single bisexual has told me that they would most likely miss and ultimately crave the gender that they missed out on. Now, listen, maybe I just happen to ask the wrong people. I'm sure there are a bunch of bi babes out there who would say, no, once I choose my person, that's my person. And if that's you, genuinely, I respect the hell out of you. But based on conversations that I've had, that ain't usually the answer. And personally, I just can't relax in that kind of relationship. Because what do you mean you're going to crave something I can never offer you? I got to worry every single day that this could be the day that my wife wakes up and realizes she wants dick. Do what y'all want with your lives, but I just don't have the emotional bandwidth for a plot twist like that. And let me be so clear. When I say there is no shame in this at all, because look, if I were bisexual, I know I will feel the same. Look, if I liked vanilla and chocolate ice cream, but I married chocolate, like I could just never have vanilla again. No, I wouldn't like that. And I don't think that makes you a bad person or means you're incapable of commitment. I think it just means we probably have different ideas about what compatibility looks like. And I think that's what gets lost in these conversations, right? Because when a lesbian says, I'd rather date another lesbian, a lot of times people hear, you were saying bisexual women aren't enough. And it's like, no, baby. What she's saying is, I want someone who experiences attraction the same way I do. It's a compatibility preference. The same way someone might want to date someone who shares a religion or loves to travel or doesn't want kids. And you know what? I tried to articulate this same exact point back in 2020, and some bitch stitched my video, called me biphobic, and sent her followers to come attack me for it. And that shit touched a nerve for sure because I never spoke on it again. But you know what? Now I'm older. And I give less fucks. And anyone that calls me biphobic can literally eat my ass. Because I ain't scared of y'all. Some of us just prefer not to date you. Case closed. Oh, and BT dubs. Trying to guilt someone into dating you has never once made anyone more attractive. But it's your soapbox. Continue stomping on it all you want. That's all I got. That's all I wanted to say. And with that, this concludes this week's Lesbian Agenda.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
All right, y'all, it's time for my ick of the week. And this week, I'm hating on my all-time entertainment industry rivals, Nepo-Babies. But not just any Nepo-Babies, specifically the ones who refuse to admit that they're Nepo-Babies. Okay, now before anybody starts popping off in my comments, like I said before, I will take all the engagement I can get. So actually go ahead and do what you want to do. But let me be clear. This is not me saying every child of a celebrity is untalented. Some of them are phenomenal. And there are plenty of Nepo-Babies who absolutely earn their success after getting their first big opportunity. But here's the thing. They still got the opportunity. And that's the part that really grinds my gears, y'all, because Hollywood loves selling this fantasy that if you just work hard enough, you stay persistent, and you never give up, one day your dreams will come true too. And as someone who's been grinding in this industry for over 15 years, that is the cutest bedtime story I've ever heard. And it's also bullshit because the entertainment industry is not a meritocracy. It's a networking contest. And it's all about who knows who and whose daddy can text a producer for their next gig. Now, look, I get it. If my mom was Meryl Streep, I'd be using her connects too. But what I wouldn't do is then go on fuck-ass Jimmy Fallon and say some dumbass shit like privilege. What privilege? I just work really hard and I gave it all in my audition. Baby, we gotta dead the whole we all have the same 24 hours in a day bullshit. Because some of us are working 12 hours of that day to make ends meet while y'all haven't paid a single bill in your life. Could you possibly see how those life experiences are just slightly different? No, am I saying don't follow in your parents' footsteps? No. I'm just saying own your privilege. We'd all respect that way more because I'm getting real sick of the red carpet interviews where y'all act like y'all didn't get cast in a role because your dad was the star of an Emmy-winning series. And real talk, I got hella respect for the creatives who come from bumfuck nowhere with nothing but $37 in their checking account and a dream to make that shit happen. And that's what pisses me off the most. Thinking about the thousands of unbelievably talented actors, writers, directors, producers who will never get the chance to bless us with their geniusness. Not because they weren't visionaries, not because they didn't work hard, but because somebody else was born with the right last name. And that is soul-wrenching. So yeah, if your mama or daddy is famous, congratulations. Love that for you. Seriously, I hope my future kid benefits from everything I built too. That's what parents are supposed to do. But also, I'm gonna be one of those back in my day type of mamas that reminds my kids of everything I did for their ungrateful ass. So don't y'all worry about my babies. They'll never forget their privilege. But if they did, they too would join my ick of the week list. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go submit myself for another writing gig that I'll probably lose out to somebody whose uncle owns a production company.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
Well, friends, I think we're gonna call it here. I actually had a few more segments planned, but it's like 2 a.m, and I just remembered I'm currently the foster mom of a 6-year-old boy. So respectfully, that's gonna be my entire personality right now, and I will be pulling that card when need be. But hey, hopefully next week I'll come back stronger, more organized, and much less sleep deprived. But, I don't want to make promises I'm not sure I can keep. So thanks, guys, so much for hanging out with me today. And don't forget to follow the podcast, do all the things, hit all the buttons, leave your girl a cute little rating if you're feeling generous. And I'll see y'all Santa Maniacs next week. I love ya.
You are listening to Selective Sanity.